Coming up on Meet the Movie Press today, we're going to talk about Captain Marvel's director search, Doug Liman directing Justice League Dark, and new releases like Don't Breathe and the new Mechanic movie. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
We talk and we live them. Don't we?
Good morning. Cheers.
Morning.
Nothing like a little Sprite.
A cup of tea to start the day. I don't know why I do a British accent when I actually have one.
Yeah, exactly. Just to embrace your own.
Stupid little
Good
old
morning,
man.
everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Meet the Movie Press, our lovely little show here on the Popcorn Talk Network. I'm Jeff Sneider, film reporter at Mashable. You can find me on Twitter at @theinsnider. And with me, as always...
Hello, Simon Thompson. I'm a journalist with a question mark. I am a film journalist. You can find me on social media at Showbiz Simon on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is This is Simon Thompson, blah, blah, blah. I'm all over the place.
Apologies for my bandages here today. You may see a glimpse of them. It's because I ran the American Ninja Warrior track, which we're going to talk about in just a second.
Yep.
But first, you had your own week.
I did.
And so let's start with Wankers Away.
Yeah, you've seen it.
Oh, I saw it.
Okay, if you're wondering what this is, by the way, you're going to share that on Facebook for me? I'd like that. You could do that.
I will share it on Facebook, no problem.
If you go to my Facebook page, so it's This is Simon Thompson, I put up a clip from an interview I did recently with Jason Statham that didn't make the final edit because it's rude, where I suggest it's something I think is lacking from a lot of Jason Statham movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of that cheeky Bond-esque action hero pun.
Right, that yippee-ki-yay motherfucker kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing, or the Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of missing from Statham, and there's one point, probably the best part in the movie for Mechanic Resurrection, which we'll get to in a bit, where I think he missed a golden opportunity. So I put it to him. What my suggestion would be goes down quite well. So feel free to do that. I will be tweeting it out later as well. But yes, Wankers Away got an official sign of approval from Jason Statham. Quote unquote, fucking hilarious.
Dude, you killed it. Way to go.
I did. Stone dead.
You guys look like brothers, too.
I know.
Did he comment on that?
We joked about it before the camera started rolling, actually. So yeah, it's good. I love Jason Statham. I love his movies. I know they're not high art. I know they're not brilliant movies, but there are few things in the world that give me as great a satisfaction as to sit down with a glass of something or a beer and just watch a balls to the wall, no messing about, straight action Jason Statham
and how
movie.
did this one compare to the first Mechanic?
Compared to the first Mechanic?
Yeah? This one has Tommy Lee Jones and Jessica Alba, right?
Yeah, this one does have Tommy Lee Jones in it for about 20
minutes.
minutes.
That's one Oscar winner, and I'll let you guess who is who.
Yeah, I loved her in Into the Blue. Great, well-deserving Oscar movie. No, it's terrible, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, man.
It's not a good Jason Statham movie.
He's coming for you now.
My full review is actually up on IGN. I'll post a link on Twitter afterwards. It's not a great Jason Statham movie. It's not a great movie. The problem is, all the components that you need there are at the heart of it and are kind of present. Mm-hmm. It just feels less slick. It feels cheaper. It feels like, the big problem for me is it feels like a movie that was reskinned to be a Mechanic sequel that should have been a completely separate movie with other people in it. Everybody in it is completely interchangeable. Jessica Alba's fine. Tommy Lee Jones, I have no idea what the hell he was doing in this movie.
Is this the movie where he has the goatee or whatever?
It looks,
it's
like a chin merkin.
It's a chin merkin. It's a soul patch.
Okay, soul patch, chin merkin.
Soul patch Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, in the press notes, and I mentioned this in my review for IGN, there's hardly any quotes from him. And the one that was there was the fact that, well, it was fun to do, and I got to wear some cool shirts and glasses. If Tommy Lee Jones, the best thing you can say about a film that you're in is the fact that you got to wear some cool glasses and shirts, you need to have a really, really big talk with your agent, because they are booking you some
That's a paycheck
shit.
gig for my man TLJ.
It's a patio. It's a house in the hills. It's something like that. It's
I
not.
see. We're getting
It's
a new
not
patio.
a good movie.
Thanks,
I mean,
Mechanic.
it's adequate as as a straight-to-video 1980s, 1990s style action
All right.
movie that could have starred anyone.
We've already spoken.
Not a great movie.
It's
Too long.
not a
Too
resurrection
long.
after all
No.
for the mechanic, it sounds like.
No.
The other release was Don't Breathe. Did you see it?
Did I see it? I saw it and I pooped my pants.
It's seared into your memory.
It is genuinely. It's being pitched as a horror.
Should we talk about spoilers or no? I don't think I want to because I'm writing a piece on it.
No, let's
And
not ruin the third act.
I was going to review the movie,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But there's something that happens in the movie that I was like, I need to talk about this,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really belong in a review. Let's just change it from a review to...
Is that where the Rock turns up?
Huh?
Is that where the Rock turns up?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
The Rock is in that story. He's the one chained up in the basement.
He's everyone. I loved it. I thought the third act was one of the best third acts.
It was good.
I was
good.
expecting it to be fine and good, but it excelled for me. I thought that some of the scares were really intense
I really
and really
like
original.
Jane Levy.
She's great. She's great. I'd like to see a third film with her and Fetty doing
Right.
together after Evil Dead. I think the cast is spot on. I think everybody fits their roles really, really good. I think
Stephen Lang, man.
Stephen Lang's amazing.
Really making a case for Cable, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, he was superb.
He's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
How old is he? I have to look now.
Well,
I'm
he's
sorry.
he's quite old. Yeah, he's just seen on the chat, Jason Statham.
64.
Yeah. Just seen on the chat, Jason Statham and Simon Thompson for the Twins reboot.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, fuck it, I'm in.
I think you could actually pull it off.
I think I've pulled it off.
I
over
say
the years.
that. I know I'm smiling and laughing saying that. I would actually buy that ticket.
I would buy that ticket for you. Yeah. Okay.
would
So
be
this
fucking
is
hilarious.
But yeah, no. I thought Don't Breathe was great. The problem I have with it, and I spoke to Fetty about this. I did an interview with him for Forbes. Actually, I'll post a link later. Not link later. It's being sold as a horror. To me, it's not a horror. There are horrific moments in it. It's a thriller. It's a drama.
Yeah, no,
it's a lot of things, but I wouldn't class it as horror.
It's a horror thriller. I think that counts.
Yeah, psychological thriller.
There's a lot of Cujo in there, and Cujo's a horror movie.
Yeah,
so.
true.
So there you go.
But yeah, I thought it was highly effective. I thought the casting was great. Stephen Lang, as you say, was brilliant.
Yeah,
it
was effective, and for the last weekend of August, like, I'll take it.
But look at how effective Don't Breathe is, and it had a budget of around about $10 million.
Oh yeah, it should double that this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, opening weekend is like 11 to 14 million, and I think that's quite conservative. To be honest with you, I think it could exceed 14. I think it could easily do 15, 16, because there's not a huge amount of competition out there for the films that are coming out fresh. A lot of the films that are coming out this weekend are actually quite low. They're below 1,000 screens. So I think a lot of people will be very tempted to go and see this. I think it could open very strong. It's one of my favourite films of the year. Actually, no. I'm not saying because of artistic level, just because of pure enjoyment, and for a film that actually delivered what it promised.
That's true.
It did.
I'll give it that. I don't want to take
Yeah.
anything away from that. I mean, am I going to sit here and say it's one of the best movies of the year? I think that would be preposterous, but it was certainly memorable. And so, yeah, if I were you guys, I'd check it out if you're a fan of that genre.
Someone's asked in the chat, Green Room or Don't Breathe this weekend. That's tough because they're both great movies.
I think Green Room is ultimately more satisfying, but Don't Breathe is fun.
Don't Breathe, you should definitely see it. This is what we talked about before. Definitely see it in a theatre, because that audience experience adds to the film.
Yeah,
no
that's
end.
true, for
So
sure.
Definitely go and see it in
All
theatres.
right, let's get to the news
Okay.
for 10 minutes before we start taking calls.
Cool.
And there were two big stories about directors circling, properties, superheroes,
Yep.
comic books.
Yep.
I'm just throwing out buzzwords now. Let's start with Captain Marvel. This was an exclusive where? Variety?
I think it was Variety.
Or was it Hollywood Reporter?
I think it was Variety. We can check. But yeah, there were three big names, or three names thrown out there.
It
Interesting
was
names.
Leslie Linka Glatter.
Yeah. Nikki Caro.
Yes.
And someone who I
Lorraine Scafaria.
Yes.
Yes.
Now
it was
she
a
did
Hollywood Reporter.
Seeking a Friend. Nikki did Well Rider, and Leshlinka did Homeland and Mad Men. Now,
Okay, let's get into it.
I think they're all.
By the way, Justin Kroll, wait, before we begin, Justin
Yes.
Kroll tweeted.
Who's he gonna call
that
in
there's
as today?
another contender
Okay.
out there.
Jodie Foster.
I have no idea.
Okay. Just putting that out there.
That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I out of those,
I'm gonna say not Jodie Foster, but
No,
just-
okay.
please not Jodie Foster. Go, give us.
I
let's
would
go.
say that it's Lesh Linka Glater.
Linka Glatter.
Linka Glater.
Glatter.
You say Glatter, I say Glater. Because of what is contained in Homeland and Mad Men, visually
Do
and
you watch those shows?
character-wise,
Do you
yes,
watch-
I have.
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I was a big fan of Mad Men since day one, and I've dipped in and out of Homeland. I think
That's the reverse for me, but all right.
I would love to see what could be created coming from that kind of principle. I think Nikki could do a very good job. Whale Rider is still a great movie.
Ooh.
I think it could be very interesting.
I never saw Whale Rider.
It's worth checking out. I think around the time there was a lot of the hype around it, and people were kind of drawn in by that. But
yeah, my
stepping
middle
back
school,
from that,
everyone was talking about Whale Rider. Let me tell you.
watch it now. It's a very, very competent film, very well made. And seeking a friend for the end of the earth, I thought was okay. Stylistically, very strong as a film. I wasn't that really wowed by it. But out of them, I think if we could find for Captain Marvel a really nice blend between kind of the stylings of Homeland, Mad Men, something around that kind of creative ilk, could be really interesting, and then could fall within the galaxy, kind of around the the Agent Carter kind of but bigger budget, and then with the early Captain America style stuff, bringing all those styles together could make a very appealing, very interesting, and very attractive film with great pacing. I'm her agent.
I love you, dude.
You disagree?
No. I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
No, I mean, Dickie and I, we like to joke that
Okay.
this movie's already done. It's already storyboarded. There's no real decisions to make.
Are you saying Hollywood makes film by committee?
We just joke that this is like Kevin's baby, and
Yeah.
I'm sure this movie is already planned out to within an inch. Anyways, that said, I think that Leslie Linka Glatter is probably the choice here. I just think that she's ready to make that jump from television to features.
Yep.
I think that she's a very competent television director, one of the best ones working, best women working in the business. So, Nikki Caro has had a few shots.
Yeah.
And has there been a huge box office hit? I don't know that there has.
Not that springs to mind.
I loved
no.
McFarlane. McFarlane is a great movie. So she already has a relationship with Disney, which could give her an edge in this.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's Leslie's turn. Lorraine Scafaria is going to have other opportunities. I think that she is maybe like the best PR move.
Yep.
I think that she would look great on a magazine cover with Brie Larson. I loved The Meddler. I'm not just like saying, whatever about Lorraine. She's a fantastic director. The Meddler is one of my favorite movies of the year. If you go and check my blog, it's in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I thought it was terrific. I just don't know if again, I'm not sure what the vision is for this Captain Marvel. I just don't know if she has the chops for it yet. Maybe one more movie.
Yeah. I think all of those are fair.
So Nikki
fair
and Leslie
critiques,
make
yeah.
the most sense to me. But I'm very curious who Justin is holding. He hasn't mentioned yet. There's a mystery woman.
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to be pretty interesting. There's a lot of eyeballs on Captain Marvel. They have a great building block with Brie Larson.
Yeah.
As Carol Danvers.
But
yeah.
also within Marvel, we are going to, over the next few years, as we move into the next phase, see quite a few shifts in the lineup anyway. Because obviously, we know that Steve Rogers is no longer Captain America. The Russo brothers said that this week. So they're going to be a new Captain America. We know previously with Robert Downey Jr. not always entirely willing to commit to Iron Man, and we're seeing that Iron Man has changed in comics, so we could see potentially a shift in Iron Man. I think what they might be doing now is getting someone who can line up and work with those characters as they become different physical characters or different the human side of these characters, to take this into slightly different direction to how we've seen it before. Not too different, But I think and then you're going to bring together things like Guardians of the Galaxy, etc., etc. So maybe they're looking for someone with a vision to potentially shift it that way.
We'll see. I mean, again, in this exclusive on the Hollywood Reporter, Boris and Rebecca also mentioned that Jennifer Kent, the Babadook director, was on the short list, along with Jennifer Yu, the director of Kung Fu Panda 2.
She's very talented.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are really right for this. I know the Babadook has a lot of fans.
Great movie.
I thought it was just okay, and I don't think that she has the right sensibility for a Marvel movie, at least this one. All right, let's jump over to the DC universe.
Okay.
Real quick before we start to take calls and talk about Doug Liman taking the reins of Justice League Dark, which is now called Dark Universe. Simon, why don't I care about this movie?
Well, I'm not excited about it either. I can't quite put my finger on why I'm not that
Who are these
interested in it.
characters? It's John. I mean, you could make the same argument for Guardians of the Galaxy, where I was like, "Who the fuck are these characters? Nobody's going to want to see this," and then it was super cool.
But also okay.
James Gunn though has a certain personality that I don't know that Doug Liman has.
Well, I was going to say, let's look at two other properties. Let's look at Suicide Squad and let's look at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Now, those all have characters in them that a lot of people don't know. Okay, we know Joker, we know Harley Quinn, they're kind of out there, but a lot of people didn't know many of the other lead characters in that. And, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, when I wasn't familiar with the comic, but when I actually saw the movie, I was like, actually, these are great characters. And now they're really well known. So I don't think, if that is the biggest issue, I don't think that's an insurmountable issue. I think we're just having, and someone else has already said in the chat room, there's a little bit of fatigue. They're feeling a bit of fatigue about Marvel and DC movies. They're not really caring about them
We've had
that much more anymore.
I mean, yeah, but we've heard about the fatigue, and then that doesn't matter.
No.
People are going to go see these movies anyways.
They are, but it doesn't mean the fatigue is not there.
I'm certainly fucking fatigued. There's, I mean...
but also you and I deal with this on a daily basis. We write about stuff, and we do articles on this, and we do interviews on this stuff every damn day. If you're Kevin working in Ralph's in Kansas, unless you're looking for this stuff going on blogs every day, which, to be honest with you, if you're watching this program, you probably are. If you're what I call
super fan,
regular people, so people who aren't super fans and aren't really nuts deep in film, then you're not as fatigued. So a lot of those are the people that are going to see these films, and they don't. I know people who, bearing in mind, obviously, I'm talking about film a lot, pretty much all the time. I have friends that sometimes, even like 2 weeks before a movie's coming out, they're like, "Oh, is this film coming out?" And it'll be something that I've been talking about for months.
Right.
Which probably means my friends don't listen to me. But
I want to know, how dark is this dark universe?
I don't
is this R-rated, or is it just like another Suicide Squad?
Well, Suicide Squad wasn't the dark that we were expecting.
Right.
And then we have Batman versus Superman, and everyone goes, that's too dark.
Yeah, I don't understand this.
I think this is kind of, it's more like Justice League mocha rather than dark.
And by the way, we're running out of stars. Like, all the stars are doing these comic book movies. Like, how many? You're going to start to double up soon. I'll put it this way.
George Clooney is Suicide Squad.
This is like a total pass for me, unless Doug Liman gets his boy Tom Cruise in this movie as Constantine.
I would watch.
I'm out. I don't care about it.
I would watch an instructional video if it had Tom Cruise in it. I love Tom Cruise. We know that.
I think he would actually be a decent fit for John Constantine. And he's never, played a superhero or whatever, even though he's basically a superhero in every movie.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. And
but I mean, I don't know how dark it would be, because obviously it was originally going to be a vision of Del Toro. Now that would have been cheeky dark. That would have been really nicely done, creatively dark. I love his universe.
Sure.
But I don't know how dark this is going to be. I think it's going to be passably dark. But obviously he's moved off Gambit to do this, which frees up Channing Tatum potentially.
Dude, yeah, I hope Channing Tatum does that Predator movie. That would be so fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think he'd be great.
That's not a real rumor. Somebody just said that on Twitter.
He'd be awesome.
I embraced it.
And I was thinking about that last night, going off on a tangent ever so slightly. With that Predator movie, someone they should cast in it is Jonah Hill, because I think stay with me. If Jonah Hill had effectively the Paul Reiser role from Aliens, where he's a corporate dick who's slimy
Okay,
and
so
greasy.
yeah. Yes.
He would work.
He'd be
perfect.
Sure, he'd be good in a Predator movie, but not like out in the jungle with everybody.
Oh no, fat kid's going to get eaten straight
That's
away.
when you say in a Predator
Yeah.
movie, that's sort of what I'm talking about. All right, let's take a call.
Hello, who's this?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Who are we talking with?
This is Sean from Kingston, Ontario. How's it going?
Good,
Hey.
Sean. Turn down the volume on your computer because I'm hearing feedback.
Sorry about that.
It's all okay.
So my question is in regards to the Universal monster movies.
Oh boy.
So what we've been told, at least from what's been reported, is that they've been hiring a lot of the actors for the future films. Now, whether or not they're going to appear in movies before their own standalones has yet to be announced. But this, to me, in this day and age, is a little different than what we've been used to, because they're going after the talent before they're going after the vision of what they want the character to be based on the director, or at least the story. So I just want to know, is this normal? Is this kind of the way that they should be going? Because this is so uncharted territory for them. Like they're trying to do the Marvel DC kind of mold, but using their classic hero or their classic monsters. And
I think
I don't know if getting talent in this day and age, because we've seen that actors can't sell a movie as well as they used to back in like the 90s. I don't know if that's maybe the right way to go, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are.
I think that's a pretty interesting question. I would say that I like what Universal is doing, and I think that they are on the right track as far as starting with an actor and then building the concept sort of around them and with them. Because too often we see these characters and they're so rigidly defined, and then they cast the actor who doesn't fit into that mold, and it doesn't feel like the character is adaptable. And I know it should be the actor who adapts to fit the character, but I don't know. I kind of like this. I think that what they're doing with The Mummy is completely different. It feels like a badass Mummy movie, whereas I don't even know that I saw the Brendan Fraser movies. They look goofy to me.
Well, the first Brendan Fraser Mummy movie was actually really good.
I don't remember.
The
I did
other
see
ones
The Mummy.
were appalling.
I didn't see the other ones, but I didn't like
Terrible.
the original Mummy because it felt goofy.
Yeah.
It was like an adventure movie.
It's dated, but I would watch that first Brendan Fraser one.
Anyways, I think that this Mummy with Tom Cruise is going to be a huge improvement. They're going after the biggest stars too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like they're not messing around with. I mean,
well, they're also the big stars, but they're the ones that are effectively flop-proof.
they
Because
don't have the Jack Rayners and Toby Kebbels. They're going after Tom Cruise and Johnny Depp and The Rock and Russell Crowe and like huge people.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
But as I say, the talent involved are flop-proof, because Johnny Depp's had a lot of flops, but he's still Johnny Depp. He's still very marketable. Russell Crowe's had a few flops over the years, but he's still marketable. Tom Cruise has had his
It's all
flops.
about the right role.
It is, but I think a lot of it comes with that heritage and with that kudos as well. That is, because if you look, what we're doing in Hollywood at the moment a lot is people are going, okay, X is really, really popular, so we're going to cast them in like 5 different movies. That's great. But if you've got 5 movies coming out and 3 of those movies bomb, by the time you get to the second 2, people are like, you've had a lot of stinkers. They've instantly become, over 5 years, a lot less marketable and a lot harder to sell. So I think if you've got these actors who weathered that, and they're right for the roles. I mean, I got genuinely very excited about all the casting in that. You've got people who, even if they had flops, kind of surpass that, and they're still a strong, marketable entity, despite having a couple of dud movies. Really great example, Dev Patel. Dev Patel started his career obviously he's not at the Tom Cruise level, but he started very strong with Slumdog. He then has had a couple of successful movies, but a lot of his movies haven't done a lot of good box office. And then you can cast him in something like Lion. By the way, that trailer looks amazing. And it
looks incredible.
It does. It looks like an amazing movie.
Where are we going with this conversation?
Well, I'm just saying.
Where are you taking me right now?
If you have someone with that, they've got a certain level of credibility, even if they haven't had a lot of box office success, that carries through.
All right. Thank you for the question. We're going to take the next one.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Have a good weekend. Hello, you're on Meet the Movie Press.
Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going? Who are we talking with?
It's Jonathan, just same guy. Just gonna ask you a couple of questions. Real quick.
Sorry.
What do you think about the Junkies movie? It's a 2-hour movie. It's a 2-hour movie. What do you think about it? It's a 2-hour movie. 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 It's a It's about how about I'm gonna ask you to this. Which movies can Chris Pratt would be great in? Passengers or The Magnificent Seven?
I think he'll be better in Passengers. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how good Magnificent Seven looks.
No, I mean, I Magnificent Seven is going to Toronto, right? I really, for me, I think it's going to be Passengers because the lack of excitement. I've seen a lot of posters for Magnificent Seven, but I haven't seen a lot of chatter about it. People, even not in the industry, seem to be already thinking and talking about Passengers. So I think that's probably going to be the one where we're going to really see him excel.
Yeah, I think they're excited about that over on the Sony lot. But thank you for calling.
One more last thing. It's about I'm just trying to figure out what this movie's going to release. It's about Martin Scorsese's Silence. Like, I heard that it's going to plan for release on December 22nd in Australia, but I'm just looking for the release date on the U.S. release, and I just want to figure out what's going on. But I know the movie's in post-production. Are any updates or news about it?
No, we don't.
No, not
Sorry.
right now. Sorry.
All right. Thank you.
So, there's a horror film we were talking about. Don't Breathe earlier. There's a horror film a couple of years ago, Trick or Treat. Did you see that?
I did.
Now, that was originally meant to be they were going to look at doing one every single year, kind of like they did with Paranormal Activity and Saw and stuff like that.
Right.
Now,
Except the movie wasn't good and it didn't do well.
well, it didn't do well, but it also sat on the shelf for a long time. But it's kind of developed status around it. So
Why
looking
do
like
you think it sat on the shelf? Because it was a great movie?
No, a lot of movies do sit on the shelf, and they're good movies. They don't
you're
get released for a long
about
time.
I know what you're getting into. You're about to defend Trick or Treat, and I'm cutting you off at the knees. This is what's happening right here.
That's okay.
Trick or Treat's not a good movie.
In your opinion, I enjoyed it
fact.
for what it is. I mean, but yeah,
Do those guys even work anymore?
apparently so, because Mike Doherty, who made Krampus last year, was interviewed this week.
Krampus,
So
that's right.
I'm assuming so.
Trick or Treat sequel? No.
They're talking about it possibly. Yeah.
Pass.
Cool.
What else you got?
Mission Impossible 6.
Another bullshit story.
Cool.
Mission Impossible 6, Simon.
Yeah. Has apparently stopped filming, which I think
It's
is
not
a big...
filming. It's in. What are you talking about? It's in pre-production. It's not even in pre-production. It's in pre-production, and it got paused.
Okay.
And it got paused because they're at a salary impasse. But let me tell you, is the salary impasse going to get figured out? Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sorry,
No, that's fine.
Simon's mad that I stepped on his Trick or Treat story.
No, that's cool. Okay, who's calling? Hello, who's this?
Hey, it's Mike. How are you?
I'm good. What's your question?
I'm just curious. So I heard this week box office totals for worldwide Suicide Squad was like 600 million.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So, and based on what the movie allegedly costs and allegedly the market, because we know those numbers are not true.
Sure.
But if we took those for fact, the movie might break even. Probably will. Probably break even, but not do much better. How long? Basically, does DC let this clock tick till they, really reboot or stop, kind of stop making the DC movies? I understand it's a valuable brand, but it's harming their brand, I think, in the long term.
It's harming the Warner Brothers brand?
I think it's harming the DC brand. I think if people go to multiple movies and don't enjoy them,
but I don't
or lose into.
But I don't understand. If it's harming the DC brand, so you want them to stop making DC movies, and so what? The DC brand just exists as comic books. It's harming the comic book brand.
I think maybe, or they need to give it some time before they can reboot it, or honestly learn from their mistakes, as opposed to this course correction nonsense that I really don't think.
This is what I don't understand about. This is what I don't understand about the fans, though. Okay, you have to. This is a business. All right. You think Kevin Tsujihara should put it on ice for a few years and wait? He doesn't have time. These people are on a hot seat. These are all temporary positions. You make as much money as you can while you can, and you get out. They don't have time to put these franchises on ice. And hey, I'm gonna take a break from DC Comics so that I can get fired for not, making tentpoles and putting butts in seats. And then the next guy gets to make the DC movies. It doesn't make any sense. They're not gonna take a pause. That's what I'm trying to say. There will be no pause.
I understand what you're saying.
They've also
it just to me. Oh, sorry.
No, they've also got a lot of films and a lot of time, and a lot of money invested in this. So I think, even though, as Jeff says, they're not going to take a pause, even if they did decide, they're not going to write down, or strike off any of those projects because there's too much already invested in it.
No. Oh yeah, no. I'm sure, but I mean, could Justice League, if it doesn't do well, would that be basically the point where they're like, all right, let's kind of step back for a second and really re-trigger things before we spend any more money making a Flash Cyborg movie, this, that, all this other stuff we had planned.
I don't think so, because obviously if you look at when Justice League is going to be coming out, a lot of these films are either going to be imminent and mostly made, or already due for release. So I don't think that is going to do anything. And the bottom line is the fact that even if Suicide Squad, if a lot of people are not a fan of that movie, even that. It's gone. It hasn't been a bomb. It hasn't done as well as they would have expected, but it's not like it's been a total bomb for them. So there's little to dissuade them really to not continue along an amended but not too dissimilar path.
There's no time for course correction because these movies are already in production by the time the one before it comes out. So there really is no time to learn from their mistakes. So.
All right, then. Okay, talk to you later.
Yep.
Talk. This week, The Rock was talking on social media. Obviously, the Jumanji movie has been discussed a lot online and also on this show. A lot of people got very upset about it because there was a school of thought that it was perhaps going to be a reboot. A lot of people felt very close to the original. We now find out this week that Jumanji is going to be a sequel and not a reboot. Do you think that will make much? Do you think it'll change anything, or do you think is that the right way to go?
I don't think it matters. I think it's the exact same fucking movie either way. A reboot, a sequel. They're just going to mention Robin Williams' character, Alan, whatever. And they're going to there's going to be a statue to him in the middle of a fucking park or something. I mean, there's no connection. These are completely different movies. This is a sequel. Jurassic. No, it is less a sequel than Jurassic World. So in that sense, I'm sure they'll honor his memory, but it's the same movie either way. Sequel, reboot, doesn't matter.
Okay. What else have you got?
Christoph Waltz, you wanted to talk about an Alita Battle Angel, which don't you love when the press calls it James Cameron's Battle Angel?
Because he's only producing it, right?
Yeah, it's like poor Robert Rodriguez just getting hosed out of his own movie.
But that happens with quite a few directors, though, and I think it is. Yeah, I think it is unfair when that happens.
It happens when, if Christopher Nolan produces something and everything becomes Christopher Nolan's. I get that, but Rodriguez, I felt like it's big enough a director to sort of shoulder that, SEO load, I suppose, but maybe not.
I mean, it's sounding like this week that Christoph Waltz has actually been is going to be cast in a non-villain role,
which is refreshing.
Which is refreshing. I mean, I quite like his work. I like a lot of the stuff he's done, not everything, but I like a lot of the stuff that he's done. But I come across a lot of people who don't really like Christoph Waltz, and they don't like his performances or like his work.
I think he's a little one note. Kind of plays the same character and everything. And I hope he's not just playing the crazy German doctor in this. I don't know.
So what would you like to see?
I'm not that excited for this movie. I know it's been in the works for years, but it was never a development project I was really excited by.
Yeah. I mean, what would you like to see him do then if you'd like to see him do something a bit different?
Christoph Waltz?
Yeah.
It's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
Okay.
I'd like to see him play a cop. Yeah, an Interpol agent.
Good cop or bad cop?
even something like I could see him in like the Now You See Me 3, like Now You See Me 3 as like an Interpol agent or something a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. And what was that?
Well, we got a call.
Oh, cool. Hello, who's this?
It's the bully of Scott Derrickson.
Hey, how are you, Scott?
It's not. It's Justin Kroll.
What?
What's up, buddy?
What?
Did people call you a bully? Did people call you a bully?
What?
Did people call you a bully?
Did you see yesterday? That's what I was calling.
I mean, I saw like a few tweets where like, but that wasn't
He
that.
erased them, too. He erased them.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I went back last night. The only one he did was the one where he respects all journalist integrity. I felt bad for the guy. I really did. I didn't mean to start Boris really took it personally. So, all right, back to the show. Sorry.
What's on your mind, buddy?
I was kind of curious about what your thoughts were on that Captain Marvel list.
Well, you missed it early in the show, but I do think Leslie Linka Glatter would be really interesting. I just think it's her turn, and she has a really strong track record in television, so I think that's a safe choice. You?
It's funny you've mentioned the name a couple of times and it wasn't on that list.
Rebecca Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's what I was about to say during our Captain Marvel segment. I'm like, dude, fucking Little Mermaid has gone cold from what I can tell at Universal, and Rebecca Thomas is wide open right now, and the studios want to work with her. So that is who I said months and months ago. I had teased Rebecca and Rebecca. Yeah. And then Rebecca Ferguson didn't get it, but yeah, I was teasing Rebecca and Rebecca all those months ago. If you guys remember those Captain Marvel rumors, that's who I was teasing. Rebecca Thomas, Rebecca Ferguson. So nice to hear from Justin Crow. The mystery woman is in fact Rebecca Thomas. Follow him at Kroll J Var on Twitter.
And then Justice League Dark. That was some. So, did you mention how many films Doug was attached to before?
He's attached to the Amazon movie, The Wall. He's got like a million projects. So I didn't realize that you broke that story and you didn't have the Gambit thing in there. But if you did, even if you didn't have the Gambit thing in there, Justin, it means that you didn't write he was doing Gambit, right? You just left it out.
I just left it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
I do want to take it, but I just want to make that point. Like I know I called out Boris, and I guess I didn't realize what happened there. But if you left it out, that's clear that he wasn't doing it. So Boris got away with a free one there.
I'll get to the breaking news thing in a second. But the 10-second thing is this, as you probably talked about, we negotiate these things so often and whatnot. And I was under the impression that I was letting Boris do the Gambit thing and I would be doing Justice League Dark. I came to find out later that he was unaware that I would be scooping him on that. And I was like, Joe, tell him to run the Gambit thing. And he was very mad. So I was sorry, but it is what it is.
Is Gambit? Gambit. What the fuck is going on with this movie?
I don't think that's gonna see the light of day anytime soon. I really don't.
I don't know, man. I just feel like that was something Channing got asked about at a press line. He really wanted to do it. They was like, oh, maybe this is a good idea. My one thing is, I've heard the script is amazing. I heard John really knocked it out of the park. John Gattis on his little flight, and that's why people, I think Devin even tweeted that a while back. So we'll see. But here's the one thing I wanted to throw your way is that Doug had actually met on Cruella, and the film, and they're winding down their names over there. They're looking at, they like Edgar Wright, they like Kate Taylor, they like Patty Jenkins, and they like Luca, the guy who did was it The Big Splash?
Yeah.
Yes, that. So, and Doug had actually met on that too. So it was kind of crazy, but so there's your break. There's your Meet the Movie press.
There you go, Cruella. Short list of directors for Cruella, starring, is it Emma Stone now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Edgar Wright, Patty Jenkins, Luca Guadagnino, and Tate Taylor. Interesting list.
I'd like to see Edgar Wright's take on that.
Yeah,
I really would.
Talk about those are all different kinds of takes, isn't there? Wouldn't you say, Jeff? Those are like four very distinct.
Yeah, which I kind of like that they got four different ideas. I don't like when they're rigid.
People, as I said, but those were names I had heard running around.
Okay.
Well, I think,
and I know that's Emma's met on that, and that's something she'd like to get up next year. So
yeah, thank you for trusting our little show.
well, I think also
venue.
if it was Edgar Wright, I was watching his Instagram feed the other day. He actually met with Ryan Reynolds. They met up in London. So I'm thinking, if it was Ryan Reynolds opposite Emma Stone in Cruella, that would be a very easy movie to watch. Could be fun.
It could be just something else. Like,
it could be. It could be, but yeah.
I like Tate for this only because of the Help connection with him and Emma. I think they would like to work again. That's my
That's
if
a
I
good
were
call.
throwing darts.
That's a good call.
But we'll see because they're so different. I'm very curious.
But
I think whoever they go with, you'll have an idea of kind of what the script kind of came out with. So we'll see.
Patty
All right,
Jenkins
boys,
would be interesting. All right, take care, Krill. Have a good weekend.
Later.
All right, Simon. I know you got to get to work. We're gonna do. We'll do a few more minutes of show. I know you wanted to talk about the Intouchables, which was actually was that?
It was a French
That's
movie.
a French film. Right.
And this is another movie that's been kind of it's been talked about, and a lot of people have come and gone off that cast. But it's now settled with, I think it's probably about a year ago now, Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. But Neil Berger is going to direct that.
I'll leave that up to you.
I thought they might have gone for someone with more of a history of doing kind of warm comedies. He wasn't someone... I could have seen like lots of other people who I would have probably put in line for that first, so I think it's quite interesting. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. My only concern about the project is if they make it too goofy, too wacky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to go... I would want Kevin Hart to rein in a little bit.
It's like I don't know why this is necessarily being remade. This isn't going to capture the same lightning that the original did, which grossed $400 million worldwide.
Very few remakes like this actually do have that kind of impact, but I think it's probably because they paid for it and it's been sitting there for a long time. They're kind of like, well, we want to... And now they've got people that are marketable. I mean, Kevin Hart's probably never been as hot as he is right now. Especially after Central Intelligence this year doing very, very well. Bryan Cranston seems, very, very popular with audiences, even if they don't necessarily always turn out for the films that he's in. I think they just feel that it's kind of all the pieces are into place, so let's just run with it. So
yeah, maybe it'll be an awards play. Neil Berger does have a good track record as far as Limitless and Divergent go.
They might not take it too funny. They might want to do it, kind of go down the slightly more serious with moments of warmth, kind of Rain Man-esque, looking at it doing that kind of thing.
Did you see this bit on Twitter about like John Krasinski saying he wanted to be in a Marvel movie?
Yeah. I actually edited an interview with him last week where he did discuss that. Yeah.
So you saw his movie?
I haven't seen it. The Hollers. It's only opening in like 4 theaters
across the US.
I actually liked
it.
It looks
I saw
good.
it last week.
It's a great cast.
But
because obviously he's been linked to this. There have been he's been circling
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for quite a while. And I read another interview with him this week that was saying that I think it was Thor. Something that happened with Thor kind of messed up his chance of getting involved in it. But he's still really open to it. I think once he's done the Jack Ryan show, which apparently is going to be Hollywood movie budget on TV, could really see him
on Amazon.
Yeah. Could transition. We'll see. I mean, the whole thing about how many people watch these shows on VOD is questionable. I mean, even Stranger Things, there's a lot of buzz around that, but we don't have any figures on that. And, we see a lot of great content on there, but we just don't know how many people are actually realistically watching it. It's very difficult to quantify, and the companies don't really release the figures.
I thought Stranger Things actually had some numbers trickle out this week.
Oh, has there been?
I don't know about numbers, but they said it was the third most watched show, and it was bigger than the Marvel shows.
Okay. But
I believe.
I'm really, if there are numbers, I'm really keen to see those because I think it would be quite interesting to see. There's a lot of shows that people talk about, but you don't really see the figures to back it up. So it'll be interesting to see that. But also Angry Birds sequel. No surprise there this week. I probably, it's not up to me, obviously, but if I was the studio, I'd be tempted to make the sequel because the first one made, 346 million worldwide, sort of around that 340,000 mark. Only cost 73 million to make. But I just felt that Angry Birds came out after the zeitgeist of Angry Birds had happened anyway, and then to do a sequel a couple of years later, I don't know if there's going to be enough momentum from the first film to carry it through to a sequel.
Yeah, that could be a merch thing, you know?
Could be.
That could be huge. That's the thing, you know, I know people talk about, like, when you're not counting merchandising and ancillary on Suicide Squad and that kind of stuff, like, I can't imagine it's as good as a kid's movie.
No.
You know, like Angry Birds is probably selling a bunch of plush toys that there's no Deadshot plushie.
Well, the sales for Cars, which was not as successful as Toy Story, the sale for merchandise for Cars exceeds that of Toy Story.
And it gave it a sequel.
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There were some cool trailers this week.
There were.
Did you, what was your favorite?
I really liked, I haven't seen Rings. I really liked Lion. I was very surprised
Lion looked
by
great.
Lion.
Yep.
I touched on it earlier. It looks really cheesy, but I'm looking forward to Kidnap with Halle Berry in it.
Agreed.
It looks...
What was the last one? The Call?
Yeah.
Remember?
Which was 2/3 of a good movie.
I like The Call.
And then the end, I thought, was just so let it down. But the rest of it was a great movie.
Yeah, I'd see this cheapo little thriller with her.
Yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of things like Taken, but I'm okay with
Except
that. It's a woman in a car. And I think it could be fun. It could be a good popcorn movie.
I'm with you actually on that, as strange as it sounds. And did you see the Manchester by the Sea trailer?
No, I haven't. See, Casey Affleck. Mm-hmm. I love what he does, but I find him quite difficult to watch sometimes. So when I know that he's got a project coming out, it's not usually something, I've heard a lot of good things about it, but it's not something that I rush to.
I know you did not just come on this show and start talking shit about my boy Casey Affleck.
Not talking shit. I'm just saying. Sometimes I just don't enjoy watching him all the time.
Casey Affleck is the only unequivocal Oscar nominee, I think, that I can say at this point in the year.
Okay.
I think Casey Affleck is a shoo-in for a nomination. He is that good in this movie. It's a beautiful film, the best I've seen yet this year. Although, you know, I'm going to be off to Toronto soon. That could change. But it's a terrific movie, and I don't know that the trailer necessarily did it justice. Simon, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm actually going to see Storks
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm being paid to do it. But yeah, and then I'm interviewing the cast on Sunday, which I'm looking forward to.
So you are literally giving up your weekend.
About 90 minutes of it.
To cover Storks.
Yep. Because I'm being paid.
You're a good man.
I am. I do it. You know, it can't all be, you know, Oscar-nominated movies.
You know
Sometimes you've got to take the Storks when they come, or the...
I am sorry about cutting you off about Trick or Treat 2.
It's fine.
What would you like to say about that film? Please. I give you just open
No,
mic.
it's just... I enjoyed Trick or Treat. It's not... No, I've been taking shit in the chat room today as well. Because I didn't like Mechanic Resurrection, and apparently...
Oh, that's why I thought
no,
it was Trick or Treat.
no. So apparently, I've held it to the same standards as an Oscar-worthy movie, and also apparently I'm gay for Jason Statham because I like Jason Statham movies.
Guys, give Simon a... It's like, I don't look at what's going on in this chat room.
No, it's fine.
What kind of abuse are you taking, dude?
Today, a lot, but it's okay. It's fine.
You guys be nice to Simon.
I'm
the only one who gets to be mean to.
But yeah, no, Trick or Treat, I think it sat on the shelf for way too long. I actually enjoyed it. It went straight to DVD in the UK. I think it did the same thing Home Entertainment over here. Yeah. There was originally the plan to do 2 or 3 sequels, sort of, you know, like as I was saying, Saw, etc. And I just think, not necessarily for release as movies, but I think if they were to become TV specials or things that were on a Netflix or on Amazon, etc., now we're living in kind of an era where we can, you know, have a bit more fun with it. We're into things like Stranger Things. I think potentially, if it's going to happen, now would be a good time for it.
So you're recommending a Netflix anthology?
I think that would be good.
I think that's a good idea. They do have Black Mirror coming, which is you know, going to be a little bit thematically similar, if maybe a little elevated. But I think that you're on the right track as far as horror anthologies go. I'm actually, you know, I'm not a Sci-Fi Channel guy. I think that they mostly do trash.
Yeah.
But I think if they have Channel Zero, That new horror anthology from Nick Antosca.
What also Eli Roth's
That could be cool. Crypt TV?
Crypt TV.
Oh, and Shudder. There's a million
Yeah,
of these
a lot of
horror sort of
options.
services catering to us genre
So
fans.
I'll be open to that.
Okay.
And Krampus was okay.
All right. Well, we know how you're spending your weekend with Storks.
What are you doing?
I have a big fantasy draft on Sunday. Do you do fantasy football?
No. I don't do football.
That's fine.
I do the Super Bowl because then I
okay.
get to go to parties and then I get to watch all the trailers and the clips in between the
Do
football.
you
and then
gamble at the parties?
No. I'm a terrible gambler.
All right. I think that'll do it for this week's Meet the Movie Press. Simon has to get to work. He has a real job.
Have I heard of Creep Show?
Where-
I'm at Reuters this week making television.
I was going to say, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Showbiz Simon. You can find me on Instagram at Showbiz Simon, and on Facebook, this is Simon Thompson.
Guys, you can check out the American Ninja Warrior video that I did on my Facebook, facebook.com/Spielberg. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Insnider. You've been watching the Popcorn Talk Network. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend, and don't breathe, especially if you're a mechanic.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.